más flamenco que un oso. Canta y toca la guitarra y vive el hombre dichoso. Y él no conoce la pena. Y aunque tenga 100 chiquillos, pues se canta todo el día, cantando por fandanguillo, como lo canta por chufla. Y hasta la gente de rango le dicen a Sardiguera, anda y cántate un fandango, anda y cántate un fandango, con una buena letra que te pueda agradar, puede empezar maera y no te haga robar.
Juan is one of 3 shoemakers left in town. 10 years ago, there had been over a dozen, but during that decade, some had emigrated, and others had become itinerant construction workers. No one is left who can repair shoes as cheaply and as well, using scraps of leather and rubber. Juan has been in the same shop for 20 years, but for the last 3 years, he hasn't paid any rent.
Le pagaba él 15 pesetas todos los meses, pero como yo trabajaba en los zapatos...
I paid the landlord some 15 pesetas per month, and since I repaired his shoes, when the time came to adjust the pay, he always owed me money. Time kept going by. The bill came to 500 pesetas. Then the landlord said my rent was 100 pesetas a month. I asked him, hey, when did I say I was going to pay you 100 pesetas? No, he says, you never said so, but I want them. You want them? I'll never pay you again. And I never again paid him. I wasn't angry with him. I didn't pay him back because he wasn't paying me back.
Juan earns more than he has in the past, and his children send home most of their wages. His 2 eldest daughters have jobs as chambermaids in a town on the Costa del Sol. His eldest son is doing construction work there, and his younger son is a messenger at a hotel. Only 1 daughter is still at home. Aside from Juan's hunting, the only way that the family has been able to eat meat has been to raise their own chickens and turkeys. Each morning, Juan's wife Maria and his daughter Elena release the fowls so that they can forage along the pathways for food. Maria always wears brown. She says, I took an oath to the Virgin Carmen to wear her color if she helped my Mari Carmen, who was sick then. Since then, I've always worn brown, her color. Now, since so much time has passed, sometimes I'll wear a brown skirt and another top. Maria is a nervous, energetic woman, continually working. The girls have always helped her, but she is very much in command. She never has the girls shop because she says they forget half, and of course she has to see what is in the market. Juan's house has only 2 rooms, the bedroom for Juan and Maria, and the front room where the family eats and the children sleep. The varnished oak bed was purchased when Juan and Maria were first married. The rent is very little, and the landlord doesn't make repairs. When it rains, water comes through the ceiling onto the bed, and the family is frightened that the roof is going to fall. But there are flowers everywhere, and Maria is a fastidious housekeeper. 3 daughters and 2 sons were raised in this house. Now only the youngest daughter remains. There's electricity, but no running water and no plumbing. The cooking area is a tiny curtained alcove with a small window for light. Maria complains of the rats who thrive in the cactus just outside. Each day, Maria shops and prepares the meals. When the children were young, during the difficult post-war years of hunger, at times there wasn't enough to eat. Maria took in sewing, and neighbors said that often she couldn't buy food for that day's meal until she had finished the work. They were difficult years, living in close quarters with 5 small, noisy children. Maria frequently had a headache and would have to leave the house for a few moments of relief. Juan arrives home for lunch. Juan is 57, and he and Maria have been married for 27 years.
¿En qué año me gané? ¿Sabes?
El año que te casaste. Yo sé el año que me casé yo, pero el año que te casaste tú no lo
Yo no me acuerdo ahora. Yo no me acuerdo ahora. 45.
En Pascua del 45.
El 21 fue.
23.
El 23 de Pascua. Del 45.
Esto no sabe ni qué era, ni...
Debe que no me entiende.
Se viste por los pies porque es cosa natural.
Maria chides Juan because he can't remember the date of their anniversary. It's obvious that these old men don't consider such things important, she laughs.
I met my wife when we were walking in the plaza exchanging jokes. I made some jokes and she laughed, and I told her some lies. I was 15 and she was 14. We walked together for 14 years.
Occasionally, someone orders a pair of new boots. The tops are prepared in a distant factory. The shoes are then sewn by hand. It takes almost a full day.
Aprendí con un zapatero que decían Bascuñana. Él me enseñó y cuando tuve allí 3 o 4 años, pues no ganábamos dinero. Y entonces, mi padre...
I learned with a shoemaker who lived next to my sister-in-law. He taught me. And when I'd been there 3 or 4 years without earning any money, my father, who was working for another shoemaker, took me there too. And there I earned some money, but I had to make 1 pair of shoes each day, sometimes small, sometimes large. They paid me 1 duro for them, 1 duro. I was there for 3 years.
Aquí era lo único que se aprendía, el único oficio que había en este pueblo. No había otra cosa. No me agradaba a mí eso, que no me agradaba, me gustaba otra cosa, más viva, más clara, es decir, cosas que dieran más producto a la humanidad. Yo podía hacer un...
To be a shoemaker was the only trade that could be learned here. It was the only trade that there was in this town. There was nothing else. I didn't like it because I wanted something else, something with more life, something that would be more beneficial to mankind. To be a construction engineer or a school teacher, but I couldn't do it because I had no money. I had no money to study for any career. As an apprentice, the most difficult thing to learn was to sew. The sewing line has to be very straight and the stitches all the same. Shoemaking has fallen, but if one works in the fields, one must still go to a shoemaker because when factory shoes get wet, they swell and split. Shoes made for the fields and woods have to be sewn. You can't use nails. I'm going to tell you clearly about this town. The men here have always been field workers, always in a labyrinth, never able to buy anything. But if you need a loaf of bread, well, the baker gives it to you until another time. Or you ask this person or the other person. That's what happens in small towns. In the past, each landowner planted and employed more men. They went plowing in a group, and at certain times it was difficult not to be working. But today there's no work for field workers. Almost everyone is unemployed. And there aren't more standing in the street because they're in Germany, and they're in France, Switzerland, and in Belgium also. When I see the men coming back for the holidays from Germany, well, I feel happy because I'm here in Spain and they're in Germany. When they're away, I remember them only if I see one of their children. When they return for the holidays, I say to them, I'm happy you've come and have earned much money. And that's all. That's what I say. Because what can one think? It's a real shame that they should have to go to Germany when they could work here in Spain.
Que es una verdadera lástima de que se le han tenido que ir a Alemania pudiendo trabajar en España. Yo a usted le voy a dar una opinión ahora que no lo digo ni en la casa, lo voy a decir.
I'm going to give you my opinion now, which I don't talk about in my own home. I'm already 57 years old, and I'm not willing to go anywhere. I want to die in this town. If my daughters were to leave this town, and at that time I, being much older, were to have to leave with them, I'd go, but it would be against my wishes. I was born here, and I want to die here. I'd let my sons go. I can't stand in front of their goals. They can go anywhere, to Germany, America, Switzerland, anywhere. But I was born here. I have many friends. I've had more bad times here than good times, but I'm happy with everyone and everything.
Aquí tengo las amistades. Yo no estoy disgusto, yo estoy contento con todo.
Ay, a la salida de Morón me han encontrado dos chiquillas más blanquitas que la luna y más rubitas que el sol. La tincado de la mano y me la lleva a un manchón. Y le dije a la manchonera que le tendiera un colchón. Ya se cuesta la masica y ya se cuesta la mayo. Y el medio me acuesto yo como un puñito pío. Y a medianoche me voy a Paterna. 20 la chica la masica y 22 la mayo. Y 30 la manchonera por el pago del colchón. La burrilla repingona y a patá se defendió. Y el cántaro boquín por la boca rebosó. Y la vieja que estaba allí también llevo la apretó.
Chozas, the huts with mud and stone walls and roofs of thatch, are disappearing in the town. As construction workers in the cities, the men have learned to build with cement and bricks and with roofs of asbestos and tile. The government also has a construction program for the poor, small duplex apartments. Juan's children have saved for a down payment for one of the apartments and will pay out the remainder little by little.
Lo digo sin falsedad, que viva el dueño de esta casa. Lo digo sin falsedad, de que tenga salud y suerte y mucha prosperidad, igual todo lo presente.
When the houses were finished, there was a lottery to see which apartment each would take. I picked number 3, and my friend picked number 1, but since they said that the person who lives in number 1 will be president for the first year, he swapped apartments with me. So I gave the inaugural speech. I said, "We 20 families are overcome with emotion and happiness. I ask for you and for all those who have participated in helping us that you live many more years with the thanks of your town and of all Spain."
The kitchen has running water and there's more light and more room for Maria to cook. There's no land for a garden, nor is it permitted to keep chickens and turkeys, but Maria is happy. It's bright and clean, and the high wall allows her the privacy she has always longed for.
Ay, contigo me casé, Indiana. Si se muere tu papá y se queda tu mamá y hermosísima cubana, tengo una casa en La Habana destinada para ti.
Upstairs, there's running water and a bath, a bedroom for the children, and another for Juan and Maria.
Con el techo de marfil, el piso de plataforma, para ti blanca paloma tengo de la flor de lis. Cantaba la codorniz al pie de los altorbanes y también las torbelluelas a la sombra del maíz. Yo, le dieron.
The children have bought new furnishings, a couch and a kitchen cabinet. They've decorated the house with new hangings, fixtures, and even artificial flowers. Maria says, "Elena will stay home with us until summer comes. Then she'll go to stay with her sisters for the summer. There's something for young people to do there. There's the beach. But she won't go to work until she's 18, next year."
I don't like it there. There's too much noise. I prefer the Pueblo, but the change is good for the kids. There's more going on there for them. They have very little experience of the world. I buy the newspaper once or twice a week, and if there's something interesting to follow, I take it every day. And they always ask me, who is this man, and who is that man?
This is a special day. Maria's brother, who is a seaman, has come for a visit, and Maria has prepared fried fish and a hot gazpacho of bread in oil, tomatoes, and garlic. She has set out the wine. The family eats the gazpacho from a single bowl, just as the laborers are fed in the fields, and they eat with care and restraint.
In the past, we had gazpacho, bread and oil, and that's all. There was no fruit. I didn't know what a banana was. I saw one of the children of a rich family bring one to school one day, and I didn't know what it was. To me, rich and poor love their children equally. But it seems that here in Andalusia, the poor are usually closer to their children because the well-to-do travel here and there. Among poor families, it's the same as with the birds. When night comes, they return to the nest, and the family draws close together.
Yo del chico pequeño y viejo, todos hablan conmigo.
Everyone talks to me, from the old men down to the kids. Everyone greets me. I guess I'm not such a bad fellow since everyone talks to me. In my town, it's necessary to defend yourself against rumor and gossip. If you go up the street, you say that you're going down the street. If you're on your way out of town north toward Sevilla, you say that you're going south toward Algeciras.
No, los andaluces son todos mentirosos. Sí, porque a veces...
The Andalusians are all liars. In business and in many other things, the lie is often required. For example, I accept a pair of shoes. The shoes will be ready tomorrow, I say. Come tomorrow at 4. He comes at 4, but I see that he doesn't have the money. So I say, look, they're not ready. That's a lie that's required. Those are the lies around here. Here they invent lies. And there are people who make up a story and end up believing it.
The blind man sells lottery tickets. As his eyes are dim, when he enters, he must wait until the other person speaks before he recognizes him. It's a game, and Juan waits patiently to avoid giving him any clue to his identity. The town barber. There are 5 barbers in town, but he alone is considered a true barber because he was an apprentice to his father. The others aren't authentic, having become barbers after being field workers.
Me asomo ahí a la calle y sé quién tiene dinero para comer, y sé que no tiene ni para comprar tabaco.
I look up the street, and I know who has money to eat and who hasn't money, even for tobacco. I know everybody in this town, from the well-to-do to the poor. And they know me, too.
Most of the men who don't work abroad have become itinerant construction workers, remaining away during the week and returning Saturday night. Some make the trip by motorcycle, leaving when it's still night. Others wait in a cafe for the bus. Even at night, one can see what the new wages have brought. The bright lights of new stores light up furniture, beds, and mirrors that were once sold only in the large cities. The days are long in Andalusia, but the light and shadows change from moment to moment. During the week, there are few workers in town. Each week, there are fewer families.
Soy un prove benedito que habita en la serranía. Yo vengo a verte de noche porque no puedo de día, solo serrana por verte y abrazarte. Vida mía, solo cierra. Y abrazarte, vida mía.
Juan's youngest daughter has left to join her sisters. She has found work in a beauty parlor. For a time, the three girls rented a room with a family and slept together in a single bed. Now the brothers and sisters have rented an apartment and want their parents to live with them. Each of the girls has a suitor. Maria cannot leave her children alone, and she joins them. Now Juan must follow.
Yo llegaba y me sentaba ahí, me iba a pensar, y yo decía, bueno, y por todos lados que piense siempre me sale lo mismo, que tengo que estar donde estén mis hijos.
I used to come in and sit over there and start thinking, and I'd say, well, whatever way you think about it, it always comes out the same way. I have to live where my children are. I'd go around and around in my mind, but it would always come out the same. I have to be where my children are. There was little to think about. My life here was finished.
Hay de suerte y oportunidad, hoy viven muchos artistas. Hay de suerte y oportunidad, en cambio los competentes, que son buenos.
There's no other remedy but to leave. Juan must finish his work and close the shop. He returns the shoes he's repaired and will not accept any more work. He sweeps out the leather and the rubber strips. He keeps his tools, but the small workbench is thrown in the garbage. It's a 5-hour journey to the coast.
Un hombre se gana con un cigarrillo, parezca mentira que pueda pasar, lo poco que cuesta ganar un amigo y que pocos hombres lo quieren ganar. Todo el mundo va a lo suyo, ya no existe humanidad, nos tratamos con orgullo, despreciando la amistad. Aquel que dio la vida por los humanos, la dio porque quería que un día todos fuéramos hermanos, pero tanto tiene, tanto valen, lo aseguran las palabras del refrán, y hay verdad de los refranes, y eso siempre pasará. Si algunos pensamos entrar en los cielos, jamás tuvimos mayor caridad, a tanta grandeza jamás llegaremos, ninguno tenemos la gloria a ganar. Todo el mundo miramos con reparo y sin amor, y cobarde no ocultamos lo que siente el corazón. Aquel que dio la vida por los humanos, la dio porque quería que un día todos fuéramos hermanos, pero tanto tiene, tanto vale, lo aseguran las palabras del refrán, y hay refrán de los refranes, y eso siempre pasará.
This is the barrio of the city where the workers and their families live. The world below is completely new and unknown to him. Juan must find work, but the men here are construction workers, or waiters in the sidewalk cafes and in the hotels. There's work preparing for the tourists, the foreigners with strange customs who come to Spain for the beach and the sun. Once again, the family is together. Maria is content. She has her children and her husband with her. Maria says, "In the pueblo, you're worth as much as you have. Here, everyone's equal, and each one has his own life. You don't concern yourself with your neighbors. You don't know the neighbor on your floor. You have your terrace to look out from, and that's it." Juan has been given a present, a pair of sandals, but he finds them uncomfortable. Maria realizes she'll never return to her house in the pueblo for more than a visit. Maria says, "The house is like money in the bank, and the children have a place to stay when they go back. I like the tranquility of the pueblo, but my life here is the same. I never go to the movies or anywhere. My children, my house chores, and that's it. We'll be where our children are. I've told Juan, here you have a TV. There you couldn't afford one. I have fewer headaches now. In the village I had one constantly. It was probably not just the wind. When the children were younger, I was always worried. We had financial problems. Now there's less to worry about." Juan alone is still unsettled. The daughters have worked hard for their parents. Now they have suitors. The eldest has made a good match and will marry soon. There are jokes and presents. Life is beginning for them. Only Juan is apart from the rest, preoccupied.
It was very difficult. To change trades is bad. I applied for work in the movie theater as an usher, and later I looked for a job as a night watchman. I was an usher for a short time, but a fella came in and gave me an argument because I gave him one seat instead of another, and that wasn't for me. As for being a night watchman, at my age, every night, all night with a jacket, and if one of those types of guys should come who wants to steal something, he's likely to hit you with a club in the ribs and kill you to take what he wants. No, to get hit on the head for a bag of cement, no.
No, más que de fulanito, hay que decir, más que fulanito y menganito. Los periódicos que cogen no leen nada más que los anuncios. No leen más que el fútbol, una tontería.
Here they can't talk of anything but this one and that one. They take newspapers only to read the advertisements. The only thing they read about is football or the lottery. They have no interest in other things. The conversations they have among themselves are not pleasant. They talk only about who can rob a man. They're not pleasant people. And here the majority of people are foreigners. There are mostly foreigners walking on the street.
Y aquí no hablan más que si yo te compro un piso, que si yo vendo las tierras, que si el otro lo engañé, que yo le debo aquel 20,000 duros, que aquel me engañó aquí, no se habla más que de robar y engañar.
In my town, I was used to talking about hunting. And here they don't talk of things other than whether I buy an apartment from you, or whether I'm selling land, or whether I tricked someone, or that I owe him 20,000 duros, or that someone else tricked me. Here one doesn't talk of anything else other than robbing and deceiving someone. There, since we all knew each other, for we saw each other since we were little, we knew each other so well the minute we looked at each other, we knew what the other was thinking.
A new shoe store has opened, and Juan has found work there.
Dice un refrán que dice que cada cual suyo, ¿sabes? Yo lo único, ya desde la edad que tengo...
All my life I've been a shoemaker. Now we work together in the shop, and he treats me as an equal. We're both the same. He trusts me, and I get paid for what work I do.
Mira usted los zapatos de María González.
¿Tú conoces los zapatos?
Yo sé.
A ver, mira a ver si lo ves por ahí. ¿Cómo son? ¿De señora, de caballero, de niño?
De señora.
Blanco, de señora.
Hay unos zapatos parecidos a estos.
¿Qué, un par solo o hay más?
Bueno,
Aquí unos mocasines. De María González también.
de color,
¿Pero uno solo? ¿Un par o
No, no.
más
Sí, un par y dos zapatos marrones.
The shop is more spacious and modern than Juan's old shop in the pueblo. There's electricity and equipment, a sewing machine, a shoe stretcher, even factory-made heels.
When I went on the bus, I thought, this is it. There's no other alternative. All the kids here and us in the village. But I never thought I'd get used to it. No one to talk to. The people here seemed cruder. I never liked wine. I took it in the village in order to converse, to be with my friends. Here I never touch it. I don't spend any time in the bar. Who can I talk to? Upstairs to bed. Here they talk nonsense. No, round the corner and upstairs.
regresar. A mí ya, para la edad que tengo, lo mismo me da hasta allí que aquí, que en Pamplona, me da igual, lo mismo me da.
Now, to me, considering my age, it's the same to be here or there or in Pamplona. It doesn't matter to me. What's the use in moving now? To me now, it's the same to be here or there. It happens the same as in courtship. In courtship, one has a girlfriend. One loves her dearly, but when one parts, as time goes on, one forgets. See? Everything's a lie. The same has happened to me. Once I had come here, then I began to forget the other place. I started to forget.